Hello fellow riders, Phil here. Come here now, just by the beach, to do an intro for my video on the 5 best tips for learning how to ride an EUC. So what I'll do with this is I'll go to my preferred place to hang out when I'm learning things, which is the tennis courts in Roca. But it's a beautiful day and I thought I'd show you the beach. So have a look at this. It's very nice here. And once you learn how to ride your EUC, you'll be able to experience this kind of thing all the time. So let's go off and see what we can find and do elsewhere. Okay, see you in a minute. So I'm back in Roca Park now, and tip number 1, top tip for learning how to ride an electric unicycle is get the right unicycle. Now I've got a lot of theories and ideas on this and not everyone will agree with me. Someone's first unicycle should probably be a non-suspension unicycle. There's many reasons for that. But first I'll caveat that by saying if you did get your first unicycle and it was an all singing, all dancing, top of the line, suspension, high speed, high power EUC, you can learn on that. But what I would say is you're probably going to end up with some kind of odd habits. And I think if you have an electric unicycle that doesn't have suspension, you'll find you probably won't pick up those bad habits and you'll generate actually good practices for being on an electric unicycle. So one of those is you really need bent knees. Suspension takes a lot of the absorption, non-suspension wheels doesn't. You learn how to become part of the suspension, and I think that's a good practice because there are people who learn on suspension wheels and they get bucked off when there's a dip or something they're not expecting because they have straighter legs or they're not used to being able to absorb the impact. I would suggest start off with a non-suspension wheel. Now you might say that's not a great idea because in a few months' time after I've learned, I'll be bored of that and I'll want a better one. Now that is true. I've had this wheel, which is a V8f Inmotion, for almost 2.5, 3 years. And admittedly, I would like an upgrade, and after that time, I am ready. But there are so many things you can learn on a non-suspension, low-cost wheel that sometimes I think it's probably best if you do go down that route first. So when you're starting your unicycle journey, you do have to think quite a lot about safety. I would suggest you really need a minimum helmet. Helmet's number 1. It will save your life. Admittedly, I've got a V8 and it does 20 miles an hour, 21 miles an hour, so I've got a bike helmet. If you did decide to go with the more expensive EUC route first, you'll probably need a better helmet than the one I've got here. You'll probably need a full face helmet, because if you manage to cut out or the wheel has a problem, you will face plant. And it's not so much of a problem when you're doing, I'm doing around 15, 20 miles an hour. It's not too bad. This helmet, you get away with it. But anything I would say above 25 miles an hour, better helmet. Okay, what you also need, wrist guards. If you fall off, you won't break your hands, you won't score them up as much, and when you're learning, you might have this problem. So what I've got after that, knee and elbow pads. These are carbon fiber Nobleman Tech. A bit overkill, but I thought I'd get these so that when I do progress and get a better wheel, I've got the correct equipment. Finally, I always wear, if you see here, ankle boots, because not only do they give you more support, and everything with EUC is done with your legs, ankles and feet. So you want some support there so you can, you really get the torque and accuracy you want when you're using it. The flip side to that is if you've got a shoe which covers your ankles, if you do come off, that will mean you won't just destroy your ankles so much. They'll skid along and you might ruin your boots, but you won't destroy your legs. So top tip there. Within this get the right wheel top tip section, this wheel is quite basic, it doesn't have many functions, but you really should get used to the operation and use of it before you really start. So you know how to turn it on and off, go into the app, check everything, all the modes are in the right thing and where you want them, and then go from there. Obviously I'm in the appropriate place to learn. There's no one around. I have cages around me so nothing could go out and hurt anyone. And also those cages are supporting me as I'm learning. Top tip number 2. This is a big one. Okay, get used to your wheel. And the most important thing is standing on and off it. You need to know which is your dominant foot. So which foot would you kick a football with? That foot, mine is the right foot, is where you want to start getting onto your unicycle. Now what you might want to do when you're getting on and off this thing is to do it by a fence so that you've got something to hold on to, because this is purely just a way of getting used to it. So what you need to do is you just hold it, and I would suggest probably do this 20 times minimum. So what you want to learn is how to get on and off it. So just keep on doing this however long you want, as long as you get used to it. On your dominant leg, you have to lean the wheel slightly aside, so when you put your weight on it, it goes upright by the time you've got your other foot on. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You're leaning it slightly like that, and you're standing up on it. So do that as many times as you can till you get used to it. Maybe even try it without that, on, off, on, off, on, off. Once you've done that, you might want to start thinking about how to move a bit while you're on it. And that you can do again by the fence. I'll show you quickly. Just learn gently how the wheel reacts when you lean forwards and back. Just do this, really good, very easy, but this will give you a lot on learning how the wheel operates and how it moves under light load. The next thing you can learn how to do is starting to learn how it turns. So you can lean it over and just move it around. See here, move it around in semicircles so you learn how it moves. So just keep on doing that with your dominant leg. That will also help. The next thing you will definitely need to learn is foot placement. Now we've already talked about how you get up on your dominant foot, stand on it, leaning the wheel over. But foot placement is almost as important as all of that, because everything to do with an electric unicycle has to go through your legs and feet to make it operate. So what I find is my stance is generally asymmetrical. Being slightly off center and asymmetrical on your wheel, although it sounds counterproductive and counterintuitive to what you think you would need to learn how to ride an electric unicycle, this is vital, because I find my right foot is dominant for moving forwards and moving backwards. It's the foot that does most of the pressure on forwards and backwards. My left foot tends to do the weighting for leaning from side to side while I'm riding. Now if you had your feet exactly perpendicular to the wheel and equal in length on the pedals, you'll find this will make it uncertain and kind of slightly unstable. So I have my dominant foot out slightly and forward slightly, and my less dominant foot, which I use for steering, it's like a rudder essentially, is in the middle of the pedal and it is straight. So this gives me much more leverage for acceleration and deceleration on my right foot, and it being perfectly in the middle of the pedal on the left means that I have really good balance for shifting my weight left or right when you're turning. So this is something they don't tell you very often about when you're learning to ride an EUC. You do need the wheel to be off center and asymmetrical. You need your legs slightly bent, always have your knees at a slight bend so you can react and so you can move to when you hit bumps. But also, you're gonna need to keep your body upright. This is a hard one. I found when I was learning, I'll give an example, I was all over the place trying to learn where the balance point was and how to keep myself upright. And I found when I started learning, I was sweating a lot. I was tired. But I was tired because I was moving around, trying to keep my balance. And I was always on a kind of tottering kind of front thing like this. And it was like, really hard. And I'm moving around and it's exhausting. So what you need to do is straighten your back so your center of balance is right down the middle of the wheel. This really helps. So knees bent, upright back, head up, because you don't want to be looking so much at what the wheel's doing. Always with these things is you want to look where you're traveling. So if I'm turning right, I'll look and I'll go right. It's not necessarily something I'm moving my legs for. Look left and you go left. It's your shoulders, it's your weight of balance. But looking is a way to shift that balance right or left. So you're looking that way, you're turning that way. You're looking that way, you're turning that way. Your whole torso should be turning into the lean and you'll find it so much easier. As for looking up, keeping your chin up, yeah, I found that hard because when you're learning, you're trying to see where your feet are balancing. So you're looking down, which means your body isn't in the right posture, which means turning's difficult because you're not turning your body, which is a whole body thing. You've got no handlebars. It's all to do with your physical position. So you really need to be upright, you need to be looking forward, and you need to be turning and looking where you're going. You've got used to where to put your feet, you've got used to your position, you've learned how to lean the EUC over when you stand up, so when you actually get up it's perfectly balanced. All these things are good, but you're nervous about going forward. The next thing to do is just learn how to go forwards and stop. You don't have to go far. This is all about getting your confidence in how to control the machine. Because one of the biggest things that people worry about is, oh no, what if I go off balance and I can't stop? Gotcha. This is where you learn how to do that. So you only want to be doing it, putting all the things together, the feet placement, the bent knees, the posture, the head up, and you're now going to learn actually how to move this thing properly. What I'd suggest is just, you need time. It took me 4 days to learn how to do this, which although it might not sound a lot, I put a lot of effort into it. And you will have to too. But what you have to do now is learn how to go forward and just stop it. This is, pretty important. So you're just going forwards and stop. That's all you need to worry about. Going forwards and stop. Once you've learned how to stop, the next thing is turning. So you've got to try, be bold, you've got to try to learn how to turn it around, and it's best to just do it in a loop first, clockwise and anti-clockwise. So again, you've learned how to stand, you get up, you're going forwards, you learn how to stop. So now, just to, don't need that. Just keep on going in circles until you've really got that. You can get tighter and tighter and tighter as you go. And then once you've got that way, try the opposite way, anti-clockwise. keep on going around and around in circles, and you'll get used to the way it leans and moves, and this will really help you. The next thing you need to learn is to carve, because as I said earlier, a wheel does not like to be balanced. An EUC likes to be off balanced. And to do that is you put inputs into the machine. And as soon as you've put inputs into it, you're forcing your will on that machine. If you're just cruising forwards, you don't have any input. It's just going on its own, and it can wobble out. You'll get speed wobbles or braking wobbles. And the way to stop that, carving. My favorite thing personally, I love carving. So once you've got the turns, you need to go left to right to left to right. And you'll notice when you do this that you actually gain stability. So again, get on. And you just want to turn left and right and left and right. Keep doing this. And this will really teach you best practice on how to keep balance on an electric unicycle. And it will really help because you get wobbles from too much speed, which you can carve out, or you can get wobbles from braking. And the great thing about carving is you can carve a brake. It'll force the wheel to do what you say to it. Top tip number 5, I would say this is probably one of the most important tips. And it's an odd one, I'll give it that. And it's about rest. You've had a full day of learning how to stand and how things work. Your brain needs to catch up. It's tacit knowledge, this. You're not thinking every second, ooh, is my foot doing this? Ooh, is my legs doing that? Your brain does it without you thinking. And the only way to do that is by getting some rest. The brain, when you sleep, it goes through what it's learned and it files it, and the body thinks, okay, I learned how to do that. So the next time you go out, you'll suddenly be able to do things you couldn't do the time before. And then you'll get to a point on the second day of learning where you can move around and you're brilliant, but you hit a wall. And no matter how much more energy you expend or how hard you practice, there'll be a thing where your brain is saying, I can't do any more and I'm tired. So you go home, go to sleep, and it's magical. Tacit knowledge is brilliant. It just seeps in while you're dreaming. And then you wake up, you're fresh, you've got more energy, and your body's learned a little bit more about where the balance point is or what happens when you do what thing. It's really important. Sleep, just rest. So, here we are. That's my 5 top tips. Please like and subscribe, and if you've got any comments, I'll answer them, put them down in the bottom, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you in a bit, fellow riders.